This podcast is being brought to you by our good friends at Have You Seen That Show? Hey everybody, welcome once again to Tribute Land, the podcast with Scott Keogh. We got a great one for you today. Hey listen, to keep this thing rolling live on the air, if you can swing 99 cents, that is all we ask. If you can hop over to iTunes or Amazon.com and just buy one or more Scott Keogh songs, that keeps this podcast rolling so we can hit each and every tribute artist out there. So if you're a tribute artist, you want to contact me, just give me an email. That's sk@scottkeogh.com. Any feedback, same thing, sk@scottkeogh.com.
Life is a mystery. Everyone must stand alone. I hear you call my name, and it feels like
All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Tribute Land with Scott Keogh, brought to you by Shake and Bake. Let's have some fun with the chicken tonight. Don't make it so boring, and it's not bad for you either. They got all kinds of spices for grilled chicken and healthy chicken. Shake and Bake is my sponsor for today with Tribute Land. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have an amazing guest on the line, live from Las Vegas, and she is simply amazing in more ways than I can count. She does more than just one tribute, and she does them all strong and powerfully. She portrays the most eclectic and the most iconic blondes in the world, and she does it with standing ovations on a nightly basis. She's my friend. She's been my crew, my cast member. I've been several places with Coty, and she's a delight to work with, but also impressive just to watch on stage. Let's welcome her right now, Coty Alexander. Coty, welcome to Tribute Land.
Well, thank you, Scott. That was so sweet. Appreciate it.
Of course. Coty, let's get right down to business. I'm going to ask you a whole bunch of questions because I know that your fans, your friends, your family, they want to know maybe some insight to what makes Coty Alexander tick. So let's start with some general stuff. First of all, Vegas. I've got a chance to work with you in Vegas first. That was my first, we'll call it a run, my first scheduled concert dates with Coty Alexander. And I got to tell you,
Yes.
I was thoroughly impressed just watching you take the stage. Your stage presence is fantastic. You're dancing while you're singing. By the way, folks that are listening, when you sing and dance at the same time, I don't know if you know how hard that is to do. I know that I can't do it, and I admire those who can, and Coty's one of those who can. So let's start there. How in the world are you still able to sing while you're almost out of breath, doing all those dance moves for the whole time?
Well, I tell you what, Scott, it took a lot of practice. And believe me, probably the first few years of working like that, maybe people didn't say I was so great. I don't know. It was very hard. I think the key to making that happen, if you are a singer out there, the key to making that happen is to be hearing yourself very well. So sound for me is everything. If I can't hear my own voice, then I can't have that control that you need to be able to breathe and dance and sing and do all that. And the dancing and singing is tough in another aspect because you're moving all over the stage. And as singers, you know, Scott, we have monitors but they're in specific places. So for the singer dancer that has to, you know, start from the top of the stairs or to go side to side and things like that, you know, you do lose the sound sometimes. So it's hard. But lately they've come out with this incredible thing called in-ears. And man, I'm telling you, that's helped me a lot. It just makes me feel like I'm struggling less as I'm doing it.
Oh, I'm a huge fan of in-ears. The mix is always the same no matter where you are on the stage. You're slightly on top of the music, so you don't fight with the drums to hear yourself. In-ears are fantastic. I think the only drawback is I can't I can't hear the audience as well as I'd like to in most in-ear situations, but I think they're working on that too.
Yes, I hope so, because that's huge. I mean, I know they do have some different kind of ears where you can hear the ambiance. But yeah, that is huge because you really need to get that response as a performer to feel like you're making people happy and doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so we started current, but I'm gonna go way, way back in the day here for you. And first question I'm gonna throw back in time is, when did you know that music was your thing?
Well, I mean, I know I loved music from a very young age when my grandma would, play records. Um, and I just remember it was kind of like something new to me, of course, when you're 5 years old and you're listening to music and you love it. It was totally new to me. And I never stopped loving it from that point. So.
Okay, cool. What was your first song that you belted out?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't know. It seems like, I was in LA growing up and I was um auditioning and there's certain things going on and I I had to sing, country. I sang probably some like Salt and Pepper, some Janet Jackson. I don't know. I don't know actually. I mean, I think I was probably working, like being hired for things before I actually had to go out and sing something.
Cool. So, besides the obvious, what were your main musical influences and likes?
Musically, I love music and the musicianship of it even more so, I think, than singers. There's a lot of singers who like to listen to diva singers like Mariah Carey or Whitney and things like that. That wasn't so much my thing as was listening to incredible musicians like Led Zeppelin and Boston and just going back into the classics. U2 and Pink Floyd, those kind. I liked rock too, and my dad was a rocker, so I kind of grew up listening to things that he wanted to play, and I just kind of got into all that.
So yeah, you're looking at like the whole of the music, the production, the full, like you say, Boston. That takes a full effort, and I see that kind of in your act. Is it's a production, it's a flair, it's a show, and not just one person sitting on the bar stool singing. So I kind of see that in your style too.
Huh, that's interesting. Well, I'm not like a Mariah Carey type of singer, so I probably did implement some other things in there so that I could make it special.
Yeah, yeah. You bring the whole package together. It's nice. So when
Thanks.
yeah, no problem. When did you realize, Cody, that you were a fit to tribute? And I think was it Madonna was the first one?
Yeah, pretty much. That was kind of a funny story because, a lot of people will be singers or they sing karaoke and somebody will say, "Oh my gosh, you sound just like this person." But it didn't really, and then they pursue it. But it didn't really happen for me like that. I was a singer. I was doing some recording work for my sister, and I, I was just dabbling in a few little things. But when I came to Vegas, I met some producers that produced the show American Superstars, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I wanted to be a dancer in the show, actually. I didn't really think about being Madonna in the show, but I had met the producers and they called me one day after being a dancer for them. And they said, do you think you could do Madonna? And I thought, I have no idea. So I put this whole thing together. It took me about a month and I put together a show with choreography, costumes, and sang a few songs for them, and I got the job. So they had this huge audition, and they auditioned all kinds of people, and I actually got the job. So it was just really weird how it sort of came about from the back end for me.
Yeah, totally. It's fascinating to see how different tribute artists get their start, and some people they sing their tribute uh, for years before they even had their first audition. And yours seems
Mhm.
like oh, it wasn't even really a thought. They asked you, and then that put that seed in your brain, and then you're like, yeah, maybe I can do that. All right, let me test it out here. And
That's a story of my life, Scott.
yeah, but I mean, come on, how talented of a person do you have to be to say, yeah, I can do that, and then you do it? You're the odds are stacked heavily against you to pull that off. So hats off to your ability to just take that and go, yeah, let me give that a shot, and then a week or two later, or a month later, whatever it was, you're in the show doing that. I mean, that's crazy. That's pretty impressive.
It is kind of crazy, but you know what? I think that there is a certain amount of believing in yourself that you have to do. And it's so funny because I've met so many talented people, and I've said to them, "You should do this. You should try to be a singer in a band. You should try to get into shows." And they would say to me, "Oh, no, 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 I can't do that. I don't have that kind of talent or whatever." And I'd be looking at them saying, "Oh, yes, you do. You have no idea how much talent you have. It's incredible, because I know where I started." And so I look back and I realize for me, it's more of a thought process. It's more of a belief system. And, I think probably I told them I could do it, but I was full of crap. And then I made it happen.
That's awesome. That's cool. So, what is your process? What besides believing in yourself, which you definitely do, and you commit all the way to it? What's your process from the very first? Okay, so I'm going to do Madonna. What's it take? How do I? What does Coty do to get in that character?
You mean on a nightly basis?
On a nightly basis, but also when you first started it, what did you need to get done accomplished to go from A to Z to go from I think I can do it to I'm gonna step on stage and do it. Besides just the belief, what was your what was your process to get there?
Well, I think that practice is really important, and um, I, in fact, the very first time when I was auditioning for them, I was so nervous and so scared, and I didn't think that I could cut it, and I didn't think that I could. I probably thought I could cut it. Like I probably thought I was pretty good after rehearsing it and all that. But my problem was, okay, how do I get this in front of a human being and not be so nervous that I can't stand up, you know?
Yeah.
So I challenged myself. I called some friends. I actually rented at studios back then, and I would dance in front of the mirror and sing. I would bring a live mic and I would sing and dance in front of a mirror in a studio, and I would get it down and record myself, watch myself back, make sure that, what I was seeing was really what I was seeing, because I think when you watch yourself on video or hear yourself back, you sound differently than you think you do. So what I did was I invited all these people to come to this studio to challenge myself for the fear of it all, and I thought, okay, if I can get through, performing for all these strangers, then I'm going to make it. And that's what I did.
Nice.
And it really helped.
Nice. Yeah, exactly. So now that you've been doing it for a while and you've been able to examine how the whole process works, what do you think about? What are you thinking about while you're actually on stage performing?
Well, it's kind of crazy because you have to think so much in a way. I mean, if you just were exactly the spitting image of somebody, and you had all the mannerisms and you had the voice, which I really don't believe anybody does. I believe that we work very hard at what we're doing. We follow video and things like that to get mannerisms and all that. But so while you're up there, I just feel like you're thinking about a gazillion things. I mean, you're you're listening to the sound because you have to actually manipulate your voice while you're singing to sound like another person. So it's not easy. And at the same time, you're listening, so your brain's working on that, and then you're actually in the middle of a dance move while you're doing that, and then you're trying to look at the audience to be involved with them and be one-on-one with them and act like you're not trying. Act like you're just doing this and it's just easy. You're trying not to crack, you're trying not to trip, there's so many things that are going on in the brain. But I think that ultimately, as an artist, you have to totally believe in what you're doing. You can't just be doing the moves and that makes you a great performer. You have to believe it or act like you believe it. So I think for me, it's also an acting job in feeling like the person would feel. Like if the person is just elated and happy to be there, then that's how you have to act or be. Or if they're moody or if they're sexy or whatever it is, you have to emulate that and feel it really inside, not just emulate it.
So you are basically thinking of a million things up there at the same time while trying to look relaxed. It's exhausting looking so relaxed, right?
Yes, you have no idea. Well, you do.
But a lot of people don't. They're like, oh, they're just up there having fun and getting paid for it.
Exactly.
Which part of that's true. We are having fun, but at the same time, like you said, there are so many things that are spinning in your head to the point where, and I know this has probably happened to you, you're in your head so much. You're like, what's my next lyric? I know I've done this 1,000 times, but
oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and that happens too once you get too comfortable and you're just going along and you're just, oh yeah, I got this, and then you lose it because you're not thinking anymore.
You're having so much fun, you forgot you're on stage and you're actually singing a song, and you just hope to God that your autopilot kicks in and it remembers the lyrics for you.
Mm-hmm. Boy, I've had some funny experiences with that. Haven't you?
Oh yeah. I'm like, wait, where am I? And how am I remembering the words? Because I don't even know where I'm at right now. Okay, I'm there.
Oh, what about this? What about this when you're actually singing the words, but they're not connecting to your brain, and you're thinking to yourself, I don't even know that I'm singing right now. I don't even know that I'm doing this. And what am I saying? And is it going to continue to come out right? Because I'm drawing a blank, but it's coming out.
Yeah, that's your autopilot right there going, all right, I got this one for you. I know you're out to La La Land right now, so I'll just go ahead and cover for you for a few minutes.
Yeah, and then your brain goes, wait a minute, am I present? And sometimes you're not. It's a trip.
It is. So speaking of, when you're on stage, what do you want your audience members to feel when you're putting on a show?
Well, I mean, ultimately, I want them to believe, at some point, just forget that they're watching an impersonator and believe that they're watching the person. And I think that does happen sometimes because I'll look out and I'll see faces and I just feel like they've crossed over where they're not judging you anymore and they're sold and they're watching and then they're enjoying. But then at some point they're like, I don't know. I feel like they forget that they're in a show with an impersonator.
Yes.
Hopefully that's what people do.
Oh, it's true. I'm speaking from experience. I would watch Coty, ladies and gentlemen, from the wings, which is the side of the stage that the audience can't see. We're back there hiding and watching the show for free. It's pretty cool. And for several months, Coty would do her set right before mine, so I got the fortune of going down there and watching her show. And there was this moment almost every single time where she would go into a different look of Madonna and put on this, I think it's a fur coat, was it? Like a white fur coat. She put that coat on, and the dancers would already be on stage waiting for her to to join her. And once she took her place on stage, and she had that look of just confidence, I bought in like every time. I'm like, oh my God, this feels like a Madonna concert right now. Not that it didn't before. It's just that for me, that was my moment of, wow, I've never been to a Madonna concert, but this must be what it feels like because it's just so real and edgy. And so trust me, if I'm fooled, then I'm sure the audience is too.
Well, that was fun, and it's funny because that segment was taken from a Madonna concert, and the choreography that Legends did for that was so cool, and I think that we all felt it, because we got to have that moment where the dancing and everything was so fun and so cool that we just all felt like we were there.
Me too. I would do the dance moves on the wings with you, and in my own nerded out version of dancing, whatever that awkwardness looked like, but couldn't help it. It was infectious. All right, so
That was funny.
Coty, what about your family? Are they supportive? Do they think it's pretty cool?
Yeah, I think my family thinks it's pretty cool. I mean, you know, they I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, I think that they, obviously even I am impressed by this stuff. Like I'll go to see the show with other acts in it and I'll be sitting out there and it just kind of blows my mind because the showroom's so big, it holds 500-600 people and there's a ton of people out there. And then you've got, a full band and you've got lighting and you've got all these dancers behind the act and video screens. I mean, it's a pretty big deal. And sometimes, you're just sitting out there going, oh my gosh, I do this. And sometimes I get nervous. I'm like, oh my God, I had no idea it looked like this. This is big. And so I can imagine, family who, if they're not in entertainment and things like that, and they come to see you, hopefully they're thinking, wow, this is really cool, And of course they tell me that I'm great, and that's huge. It's really nice to have support from your family and friends, and get good comments.
Definitely.
Of course, my sister comes and she's like, well, Coty, you could try this or that, or
Yeah.
maybe you shouldn't wear that.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be there'll always family that give you that little bit of insight to what they think could be improved.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm not sure if I've ever fully impressed my sister. I think she's always just kind of like, oh, that's just my spazzy brother doing his thing.
Oh, okay. Well, there are people like that too. They come to a show and they're not impressed. They're just like, yeah, whatever,
Well, she's seen it and heard it her whole life. She's like, yeah, it's nothing new for me. He's always taking the stage and acting like a fool, so I'm used to it.
Yeah. Well, Scott, you get on stage and nobody is disappointed. That's for dang sure.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, what you guys out there in Tribute Land don't know is I paid Coty to say that. So thank you very much.
No, he didn't.
It's part of the
people
contract.
say that all the time.
It's part of the podcast. It's the rules of the podcast. Hey, any singers in your family or musicians?
Yeah, I mean, my grandma was just telling me the other day that she used to sing when she was a kid, and she's told me that before, but it was funny because we were watching the Super Bowl the other day and she started dancing. She was 87 and she just finished having a broken back, so she's just kind of getting back into the groove, and she started dancing and at halftime, and I thought it was so cute, and so I realized that it goes back a little further than my mom and dad. My mom was a singer and she played guitar, and my dad was a singer also. He had his own band and he was also a bass player. So I guess there is musical influences back there. They didn't actually pursue it as a career, but they were pretty cool.
So when you just described that, you just said that your grandma was getting into the groove. I could just see her dancing to get in the groove with Madonna.
I know. I'm afraid to play it. She might hurt herself.
Okay, so who would you most like to open for at a concert?
Oh my gosh, I have no idea. I mean, I there's so many musicians out there. It's crazy, but I don't know. I think maybe Gwen Stefani. Um, Probably just because I think she's so cool, and I like her style, her look, and I want to be her. So maybe I should try to open for her.
I'll tell you, I love Gwen. And okay, so I'm gonna skip ahead since you said Gwen. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but Coty does not only tribute Madonna, but she also does lights out for Gwen Stefani, Britney Spears, Lady Gaga, Marilyn Monroe, and am I missing any others?
Not that I know of.
Not yet.
Not
Yeah.
that I know of.
That's because no one's asked you yet. They just gotta ask you, hey, can you do Demi Lovato? Sure, I can.
Oh, trust me, they ask me all the time, and I have to turn things down because it's really intense. Well, it's intense for me to put together a character because I'm not just doing it because I say, oh, hey, I can sing like that, or
Right.
I do it because I feel that I could portray a spot on rendition of something. So I've chosen certain ones. And actually the Britney thing is out. I don't do that anymore. There was a time when she wasn't really popular. So I was doing it right before she wasn't popular. And so when she became unpopular for a minute, like when she shaved her head, um, I, I stopped doing it. And for when people ask me to do it, it's kind of like it's a big process to get that together again. It's like the costuming and the choreography, especially the choreography, because you forget that stuff. And so to do a one-nighter for that, I might work for a month for a one-nighter just to get that together, because I am a perfectionist, of course. So
Yes.
yeah. So yeah, I try to limit it. I think those are my only ones, other than Guess Who? Me. I've never done that. I'd like to do that.
You'd like to do that. You'd like to see who Cody's all about.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, it's funny because a lot of my friends who are singers, they want to have an impersonating job because they think it's a really cool job to have if you're in the business. But I actually want to be a singer in a band, because I just think it would be so fun to just sing, to not worry about movements and costumes and makeup, and just be yourself, sing all different varieties of music. And then on top of that, being in a band, it would be great to be my own artist as well. I do a lot of writing, and I started writing some of the poems that I've had for years. I started writing them into songs. So that's been fun.
That's awesome. So are you thinking about maybe putting those to piano and just kind of tinkering with them until you get them down to, where you like it for your original songs?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would like to actually go into a studio because I do have a structure with it already. And I want to build the songs, more with the choruses and different things. So I need help with that, though. And although I know a lot of musicians, I don't know a lot of people that are recording. And of course, it wouldn't cost a fortune. I want to find somebody who wants to play around and just kind of make something happen with my stuff, because ultimately, I don't know if anything's ever going to happen with it, but it's for me. I like listening to them.
And that's the key.
But I think aren't we like that though with our own music? We're like, oh, this is a great song, and who knows if it really is, right?
Well, you don't know. You never know. All you can do is kind of do what you like and hope that someone else likes it too. If they don't, at least you got it out. And I think that's the key, So first of all, let me backtrack and say that you doing more than just one tribute is mind-blowing to me. But doing more than 2 and 3 and 4, like you said, it takes you a month of rehearsal and practice just to do one night. It would probably take me a year, like a year and a half, just to do one night of anyone other than just the one tribute that I do. I couldn't imagine it. So that's very impressive on its own.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah, it is exhausting.
yeah. So now that you said you want to sing in the bands and just kind of see what that feels like to not have so much pressure on choreography and this and that and tributing. And the fortunate thing of my tribute is that it lends itself to some normalcy. So I can, in the middle of my shows, if I'm doing a 90-minute concert, I always throw about at least 2, sometimes 3 or 4 original Scott Keogh songs in the middle of the show. And it just seems to be an easy transition because my character's not that flamboyant, not that eccentric, not that out there. So my originals aren't that far off from what he does anyways. So it's an easy, I'll ask the audience, do you mind if I do a couple originals? And they'll always say, yeah, definitely, because they want that about halfway through. And so
Oh, yeah.
it's nice to be able to do that, and you get to express your songs, your emotions, your feelings out to the crowd, and it's very satisfying. And recording is also amazing to have a song come together and just the way that you want it. Sometimes the world likes it, sometimes they don't. But the key is to get in the studio and enjoy it and have fun. And when things come together, there's nothing like it. It's really almost as satisfying as taking the stage.
Oh, I agree. And you would know a lot more about that than I would, because I know that you're a big songwriter and stuff. So I'm just, just getting my feet wet with that, and I think it's fantastic. And I also think that if I were doing a 90-minute show, which I don't know that I could with Madonna, that's pretty intense.
Yeah.
But I actually am doing a 60-minute show coming up, and I'm putting some ballads in there, which is a different thing than what I normally do, because all the hits, people want to dance to them and everything. So I tend to do that with Madonna. But I am putting some ballads in there that are just so amazing from Madonna, and I can't wait to sing them. And if I were, I would be able to throw in some of my own stuff too, I think, because I think ultimately an audience that is sitting there watching you do a whole show, they want to know who you are too. At that point, you're getting to know them more. I think with what we do in a Legends type show, it's more like, let me make you feel like you're in a concert. And then let's go to the next character, because your husband is more into George Strait and you're more into Britney Spears. So let's give a variety with a lot of different things. But when they're coming to see a show with just one character, they are a fan of that thing. And then they become a fan of you because you have enough time with them one-on-one, right?
Absolutely. And I always encourage artists to definitely, if you have an original song and you feel like it would work in the show, I always encourage that. They do want to get to know you on a Coty Alexander level, and I think that's a great thing, as well as ballads. If you can make them laugh, that's one thing, but if you can make them move, if you can move them or make them emotional, then that's an even deeper connection that they're going to have with you, and they'll remember that night a lot more than if you just made them laugh and dance and sing. Those are all fun and positive, things. But once you kind of touch the heartstrings also and really, get them in the gut in some of those emotional type ballads, it's a whole up and down roller coaster. And now they're really connected to you as an artist.
Wow. Yeah, I bet that's amazing. I don't get to do that often, but yeah, I can see that happening, and I see it happening with some of the artists that I work with, like yourself. They love you too, and then you throw in all that comedy, and you're just funny, and you're super good looking. So you can't go wrong with Scott Keogh.
Coty, I'm gonna.
Okay, so
I gotta cut you off there. I'm
cha-ching.
gonna. Yeah, exactly. See, my bill that I owe you now for these comments are getting a bit steep, and I gotta keep this podcast affordable. So knock it off.
Okay.
But the funny thing is, I was one of my best friends was in the audience at the Flamingo one time, and I was doing my thing, and he said, Scott, I was watching this guy in the front row. He was a trucker type guy, big lumberjack trucker guy, a man's man, and he was sitting in the front, and he had his arms crossed, and he looked angry, and
yeah,
I don't know who Michael Bublé is. Just get to the next act. I'm here for Madonna, and I'm here for Elvis. So he had that aura about him, and he said I kept my eye on him, and as soon as you sang the song Home, he sank down in his seat and melted. It was like you just did the right thing at the right time, because you could tell he's like maybe a
Wow.
truck driver, and he's on the road a lot from his family. I don't know, but he goes, you should have seen this thing. It was hilarious. You turned like this angry
Wow.
bear into a puppy dog just over one song.
Wow. That's amazing.
And we don't get to see that. We have lights in our eyes, and we can't always see the reaction out there in the audience. And so it's good to hear feedback from people like that.
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice to have, like the cameras turned onto the audience instead of us, and then the audience watching and reacting to what we do?
Yeah,
That would be awesome. That would be
exactly.
really cool.
That would be good. And speaking of audience, can you tell us in Tribute Land maybe one or two of your most embarrassing moments on stage?
Oh my gosh. Oh God, there's so many, Scott. I mean, I've been doing this for a while. um, one of the first things that happened to me early on in my career was I wore the ponytail look of Madonna, which is actually a hairpiece. Don't tell everybody, but it's a ponytail that goes over the top of your own hair, and it's long. Well, I think I was out there doing Vogue, and I was new at performing live, and my ponytail wig fell off, leaving a tiny little bun on the top of my head. So with that, I ran off stage. I picked it up and ran off stage, and all the dancers were still out there dancing the song. And I was backstage, like crying to the stagehand, "What do I do? What do I do? I don't know what to do." And he's like, "Well, put it on and go back out there." And I'm like, "No, I can't."
I don't blame you.
So we had this argument for a while, we're like, "No, I cannot." And especially I go back out there eventually, and all the dancers are laughing. I mean, you dancers are supposed to be professional, but sometimes, you get them. So they were laughing at me, and they just thought it was hilarious, and I'm sure the audience did as well. So that was one time when the audience could laugh at me. Well, then there was another time where I was having a fantastic show. I mean, I was on fire, and I did this kick. I kicked so hard that I hit my face.
Oh.
I mean, I kicked so high, it just went bam, a dancer kick, right, and I didn't hit myself hard, but that's how close I got. But when I got that close, it lifted me off the ground, and I landed flat on my back.
Oh my God.
And the audience, the entire audience, everybody goes, "Ah," and you can hear it. And I was just laying there for like 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. And then I was so just like discombobulated, and probably, I may have been injured, who knows, but I didn't get up gracefully. I was kind of like on all fours, and with probably my butt to the audience. I was like, "Oh, where am I?" Trying to get up, and that was pretty that was another different kind of embarrassment. But yeah, those are two good ones.
Nice. That's enough to make a person just quit and walk away forever.
I know, right?
Uh,
Oh gosh. Well, yeah, I guess what you figure is when the show is live, that's exactly what it is. It's live. And if you're fortunate enough to be an audience member who sees something go wrong, I think that's awesome for you. It's like, wow, I saw the real deal. Something happened. They tripped. They fell down the stairs.
Yes.
Things happen. Wigs fall off,
It's a huge reason why people go to see live shows, that something could happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And we all watch it on YouTube over and over.
It's forever. Speaking of embarrassing things, what embarrassing song might I find on your iPhone or iPod?
I don't know, like Super Freak from Rick James.
Nice.
No, I'm just kidding. I I don't know. Like, what's embarrassing? Songs are amazing by any artist. What do you mean by that?
Well, if you
Like,
had like uh, you know, Gangnam Style maybe, or William Hung's version of She Bangs.
oh yeah, I probably have Justin Timberlake's "Dick in the Box."
Ah, oh, Saturday Night Live action.
yeah,
That's good. That's good.
yeah.
So obviously, there's some cool moments in entertainment, and it's a blast. But it's not always a high. So, in the
Mhm.
life of an entertainer, the ups and the downs, what keeps you going on? What keeps you in the field of entertainment?
Money, 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 money. Just
Nice.
kidding. um, it is. It's. I think the idea of not having a real job is kind of it is kind of money related in the sense that not having a real job is really a nice thing. And as much as I say to myself, oh, I want to try something different, and wow, wouldn't it be cool if I was a lawyer or whatever? Well, every person that I say that to that has a real job is like, are you nuts? I like the freedom of having my own time and kind of doing the jobs that I want to do. It's such an amazing thing to have people call you and say, "Are you available? And how much money do you want?"
Mm.
Now, no. So that's one aspect. And the other aspect, of course, is being able to do a job that is physical. I love dancing. I love um, staying in shape and just that aspect of it. Just being able to be in a physical position for a job is cool. Um, um, but just being able to sing and have that feeling that you're making people happy is huge. I mean, I've had so many people say to me that, you made my night. And that is so huge in the scheme of things because I think a lot of people are super unhappy, and if you can take them away from their problem or their issue, or like recently, a friend of mine said, my friend's got breast cancer. She's getting ready to, have a mastectomy. She wants to go out and have some fun and see a show, and that just like, oh God, it just kills you. And you think, I want to be there for these people, and be able to give them a moment of happiness. And so some performers kind of get irritated with crowds and stuff, like whether or not they're screaming enough. Like even Madonna, she'll just say, aren't you guys having fun or whatever. And I think that um, I don't like to put that kind of pressure on people because even if there's one person in the crowd having a good time, but we consider like the rest of the crowd kind of low key, that does not mean they're not enjoying it. That does not mean that you haven't changed their life or touched their life. And it's really I think it's cool what we do.
Yeah, that's a
You
great
know?
that's a great perspective on that. It's true when you don't have when you have, let's say, a less than exuberant crowd, you think that
Mhm.
they didn't have a good time. But the truth is we don't know. We don't know. Maybe you know, that's how they do the concert. Is they're just a little more subdued than most people, and we just happen to get
Yeah.
a lot of those people, or it may be that they were, they had something happen that day. What we don't know, but we don't know what kind of impression that we make on a crowd until they actually tell us afterwards. And yeah, sometimes we do assume, oh, that crowd wasn't into it, but they just weren't as vocal or as loud as other crowds were.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that uh audiences gain the energy from the rest of the audience. So you kind of like, you don't want to be the only one going woo woo,
Yeah.
if nobody else is. So everybody kind of stays on the same level. But we take it personally. I think a lot of artists take it personally. They're like, oh, they're the horrible audience and they don't like us or whatever. But I try not to. If I'm performing for 5 people or it's 5,000. I think I would do the same show. Hopefully, I mean, I think that's what our job is. That's what we're hired to do
Yes.
too.
Yeah, and as you know, some of the corporate gigs that we get, some of the corporate shows, and some of the apparent shows that we do, we're just background. We're just the background for their program, and we're not going to get the accolades that we're used to in a showroom. And you have to have thick skin and just know that, okay, I'm going to do my thing, and they're just going to kind of barely listen to it and hear it, and I'm going to have to be okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, these corporate people see a lot of different talent, and they've been, they've flown in from Japan and they're jet lagged, but yet they have to go to the sales meeting and we have to perform for them. So yeah, it's kind of tough sometimes.
But I like your view of you're there. What kind of keeps you going is because that feeling you get when you give someone a treat, you give someone an escape, you give someone a time away from their problems. They can focus on fun, and that's cool that you give them that. And then in return, sometimes they give you something special. Talk about the time that you were in, was it Windsor, Canada?
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. we did a Legends show, and we were performing for 5,000 people on a New Year's Eve
Hello.
event. And I don't know why. I mean, I've performed for 5,000, for 25,000, sometimes 10,000, whatever. But this particular crowd just, I don't know, they were so into it. They were on the stage, like right up to the front of the stage, and they were screaming and trying to touch us and grab us and everything. That night was so intense. And then to top it off, this was a night that Legends decided to have me do 2 acts. So I think we had, I was Gwen Stefani and Madonna. We had Tina Turner, Michael Jackson, Elvis. It was a pretty tight show, but I had to do Gwen Stefani and Madonna. So I think I opened, let's see, no, I must have opened with Madonna. No, I don't know. I don't know what I did, but I did two sets. So that was kind of like, wow, I thought I was going to have a heart attack. As if one performance wasn't enough to get the energy from these people. The people giving you the energy gives you the energy. And it's almost like it was too much energy for me to handle, because the energy that I was outputting was so much higher than anything I have ever experienced, that I felt like I could have had a heart attack.
Wow.
It was intense. Yeah, it was super intense, because that's how much I wanted to give, because that's what I was getting. It was it was an experience. Definitely. I'm sure you've had experiences like that.
I've had some. I've had one that topped all of them. As far as I feel what you're talking about there, almost like an out of body experience, where you're not quite sure that you're able to operate at this level, but you're there, and you're in autopilot a little bit, because you're, like you said, you're above the energy that you've ever had before. You're not quite sure. I've never operated at this level before. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, it's like, how do I pace myself?
Yes.
There's no pacing.
No pacing.
It's like you're riding on top of this energy of this audience. It's like whoa.
Yeah,
it's intense.
It really is.
So I at that moment I said, I know what it feels like to be a star now.
Yeah.
What they must feel like every time,
And it's a drug. It's you feel it and you want that again.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, and it doesn't happen.
That was good. Okay.
Where were you when you had your moment? Was it out of the country?
It was actually in my own backyard. I've done some
really
crazy cool places all over the place, but including outside the country. But this one was in my own backyard, and it was. I'm gonna do actually a full episode one day on this whole thing. It was called Celebrity Fight Night, and it's the biggest charity event in the world. They have it once a year, and all the stars from L.A., Hollywood, New York, they come out to it. It's Muhammad Ali's big thing, and
Okay.
they raised money for autism and other charities and other diseases. And Michael J.
Great.
Fox, some people like Robert De Niro and Billy Crystal. These are the type of people that come out for this thing. And David Foster is the person who produces the music portion of it. And Foster, of course, produced Whitney Houston, Celine Dion. He had a hand with Chicago, Earth, Wind and Fire, Michael Bublé, Josh Groban. Just a super, probably the biggest producer ever. And
Wow.
I've been a huge fan of Foster for many years. Well, this event is it's a black tie affair. It's like $2,000 a seat minimum just to get in the place, and it's packed. It's a big ballroom. It's the best sound you can imagine. It's just gorgeous. And
Gotta love that.
it was amazing. Well, I wanted to crash the party and just kind of see what it was all about and meet one of my idols, David Foster. And sure enough, I met him in the lobby before sound check, and we talked a little bit. And he said, "All right, Scott, I'm a little busy. I gotta get in there, but before I go, I've been known to give the microphone to local talent just to sing a couple of words.
What?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
It's
wow.
amazing. So I gotta tell you this whole story someday. It's way too long. I'll do a whole podcast, and then you'll
Awesome.
you'll get the goosebumps that I just got from you talking about Canada.
Awesome. Well, I mean that part of it alone is just absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And so obviously he got you up on stage, and we'll hear about it more in the next podcast, folks.
See, a little teaser right there. You should be producing my podcast. In fact, you should be doing podcasts. That's what you should be doing.
Well, I'm working on some stuff. I don't want to put it out there yet, but I'm working on some stuff.
You're always working on stuff. I love it. You're like me. We're in perpetual project mode.
It's true. Got to keep ourselves excited.
I love it. We're both very similar when it comes to our business acumen and our mindset towards the entertainment field. We don't want a normal job. We don't want that 9 to 5 sit in an office type thing. We love what we do, so we always look for ways to stay relevant and keep in the business.
It's so true. Yeah, that's what you got to do.
Okay, so Madonna. Obviously, you know her better than anybody. Give us a couple of cool things that you think about Madonna.
I saw her in concert a few years ago at MGM in Las Vegas, and I had seats up front. And I couldn't believe how, I couldn't believe how incredibly beautiful she was. Like her skin and everything. I mean, she was just flawless. And I was shocked because a lot of times when you see stars in person, they're not as beautiful as you see them everywhere else because people touch up and they do all these things. But I thought she was incredibly beautiful. I also think that she's an incredible athlete. I mean, when her concerts include dancing that people do when they're 18 to 25, and she is, older. And it's amazing. So that's called dedication. And I've heard about her from people that know her, and she is a businesswoman, and I totally respect that. The other funny thing about her and I is that we are both Leos. And I feel like maybe that's why I can do what I do well, including getting, having the energy and the business sense about what I do to make it happen, to be like her.
Sure.
So.
Oh yeah, you guys both have that drive, the business mind. You both share that.
Oh, Scott, I want to interject just a second because I am sitting here in Las Vegas. I'm outdoors because it's a beautiful day. And I just want to point out that this gentleman just passed me in a pair of underwear with a badge on and one of those sticks, like a police stick. I wish this was on video. Oh my gosh, that was hilarious.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I guess he's going out to take pictures.
It's the wildest country in the world. I think Las Vegas is its own country.
It is.
With its own rules.
Yeah, it should be.
Its own mindset.
Someday I bet that's where it will go in the future. It will be its own country.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe it'll be a non-country since people from all over the world come here.
There's nothing like it. When I lived in the Flamingo Hotel, I would walk down from my hotel room to the showroom, and I'd have to go in the elevator. And every Sunday, like clockwork, there'd be at least one person passed out either in the hallway, elevator, or on the floor on the way to the showroom that I'd have to step over to get to the showroom.
Oh my
For
gosh.
some reason,
That's
Sunday was the
funny.
day where everyone just kind of was really passed out.
Yeah. Yep. Oh man. Yep, only in Vegas. Well, no, not true. I mean, that happens probably everywhere, but a lot in Vegas.
Vegas seems to be, yeah, it's the heartland of crazy.
Yep.
So
Yep.
speaking of crazy fans, what are some favorite things that fans come up and tell you?
You know, like I said, I wasn't born a Mariah Carey type of singer. So when they come up and say you have an amazing voice, that really makes me feel good because I've worked very hard at it, unlike some people who are just born with it. Scott Keogh.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
I wish.
No, but no, I know you work very hard too as a singer and entertainer. But yeah, I really like to hear that, and I also like to hear that when they say you look exactly like Madonna, because that's obviously what I need to do for the job. Um, and I actually don't think I do in real life. Do you think I do?
I think that you, first of all, you're a perfectionist, and you're a businesswoman for sure. And I think that you, when you're on stage, you portray what Madonna's all about. And when you're off stage, and I
Mm-hmm.
see how you meet and greet your fans, you're very accessible. You're very accessible, and
Mm.
you're friendly. You're nice. You take pictures without ever complaining, and you're very accessible to your fans.
Yeah, I do love greeting the fans. That's like my favorite part of the show.
I mean, I've seen you stick around for pictures after everyone else has left, and you're still there taking pictures for another 5, 10, whatever it takes. And I think that's a testament because you realize that goes a long way. Those 3 people, those 5 people will go back home to Nebraska, and they'll tell everybody, and then they'll bring 50 people back the next time.
Yeah, yeah, it happens. Um, Another fun thing that I enjoy on that note is when the people say that they have seen me elsewhere in the country, because that tells me that they remembered me.
Yes.
Because when you see performers all the time, and and a lot of people will say they don't remember who they saw in the show, but they loved it or whatever. But yeah, so that I like that when they say that, and it also makes me feel like, hey, the people are following the show. They're fans of the show as well, and that's great.
And you
We like
performed,
that.
and you performed at many places. Is there a particular place or city or type of venue that you have not played at that you would like to?
Huh. Um, Geesh, I don't know. You mean among legends or just in
Oh,
general?
just in general. Because I could see you doing
Well,
theater as well, or Broadway.
yeah. I mean, Broadway would be awesome. Just having. I really enjoy production and having all the elements working around you, to make your thing, the greatest that it can be. And that's amazing. And like when you're going to tell us this David Foster thing and how that was produced to the point where it just makes you feel like a star up there or know what that feels like. That's an incredible feeling. I think another aspect of that would be doing fairs and stuff like that, where people are just out having a great time and being entertained and enjoying it.
Okay, that's a good answer. Um,
Yeah.
so what if you were not doing music? If you weren't doing performing entertainment, what do you think you would be doing?
I truly believe that I would be doing something creative. I am a writer. I enjoy writing. I enjoy writing poetry, songs. Um, I'm planning on writing some books and um, teaching. Teaching is something that I enjoy. I think I I'm one of these people that's well informed about a lot of different things that I care about, and I like to help people. So I think teaching, in some aspect, even if it's just one on one, giving people advice, I like to do that, and people come to me for advice quite a bit. Um, and if it wasn't that, it would be something in the computer field. I love computers. I'm very much into website design and marketing and Photoshop and video editing and all of it. I like all of it. I could be in front of the computer all day.
Nice. Well, um, listen, how often do you perform throughout the year, say 2016, 2015? What's an average for you?
I would say I am employed 8 months out of the year, which I am blessed to say that I do. Um, but a lot of that has to do with having brought on the other characters that I do, because ultimately you can do one act and get the work from one act, but if you do three, that triples your workload, right?
Exactly.
So I think that was my key to working a lot. And also when you're with a show like Legends, and if you have a popular act, you will stay busy. Um, and if you're willing to travel, you'll stay busy, right?
Exactly. And you do travel. When you travel too, what's that like as far as traveling with the whole cast? Are you able to keep in touch with your family and friends while you're traveling?
Well, I love going on tour with the cast, because you do create close friendships, like you and I have become, that with people that you may not have before, and we have a lot of different casts, so we have a lot of different friends and friendly people who are, I mean, entertainers are probably the most fun people around. They're eccentric and they're wild and fun and energetic and alive and healthy, and we enjoy being together, and I think that we've had, it's like being in high school again, sort of like with a bunch of friends and hanging out and having a good time, eating together, drinking together. And then at home, it would be. Oh wait, I forgot the question. What was the other part of the question?
Is it challenging to keep in touch while you're on the road?
Oh yeah, that can be difficult. The time zones and then just the workload. We work 6 days a week, so there's a workload there, and then there's the aspect of always being around people. All those people that I was telling you about that I enjoy so much. Then it's hard to sort of step aside and take that time to stay in touch with other people, and my friends who are truly my friends know that they may not hear from me for a while, even months at a time, but that we're still best friends and I'm still there for them.
The life of the road, life of the entertainer. It's different, it's challenging, but like you said, it's a blast. Also, you get to hang out with crazy, wild, fun people all the time, and different. Your cast switches up sometimes, so you'll have maybe 3 months or 2 months or a week with these 5 people or these 15 people, and then all of a sudden
Mhm.
it's a whole new set of crazies at the next stop.
Mhm. Yes, you can call them crazies because half of us are.
Gotta be a
Some
little
of
bit.
us more than others.
I mean, you gotta be a little bit crazy to take the stage and do what we do. It's not for everybody, that's for sure.
Yes, this is true.
Okay, so Cody, the fans, the people out there who are meeting you for the first time on this podcast, they want the
Yeah.
question that they're all asking is, are you single?
Oh my gosh, I'm so single.
So single.
I'm so single and so looking. So I am. I've been single for a while, off and on. I've had long-term relationships, but yeah, single and straight. That's my preference.
Okay, there you have it, folks. So And the next question is,
And
where can they see Coty Alexander currently? You're at the Flamingo, right?
yes, I am at the Flamingo through the 24th of this month, so February 24th. And then I'll be traveling. I'll be in Mystic Lake, Minnesota. I will be in Talking Stick, Arizona. Well, Scottsdale, Arizona at the Talking Stick. And I will be singing the national anthem at the Major League Baseball game down there. Not
Yes.
sure what it's called.
At the
And
Arizona Diamondbacks.
Arizona Diamondbacks national anthem. Yay. And I'm going to go on an 80s cruise, 28th through March 6th. There's an 80s cruise out of Fort Lauderdale, Holland American. I'll be doing that.
So, ladies and gentlemen, find a place out of all those places that she's going and catch Coty's act. It's amazing. So let's say that you're in Minnesota or Green Bay or Jersey right now, and it's really cold. And it's been cold. You're looking for a trip to Vegas. You better get there soon because Coty's going to be leaving Vegas. Did you say February what now?
24th.
24th. So you have until February 24th to get to Vegas, and you won't be disappointed. Let them know who's in the show with you, Coty.
All right. Oh, the show is so awesome right now. It's always awesome. I always love it. But I like this music, so I'm having fun. It's Prince, Adele, Frank Sinatra, the Blues Brothers, and myself.
Mm.
And when I leave on the 24th, they will all still be there.
That sounds like a fun show.
Yeah.
I know all of them, and they are all fantastic. So that's a decent show right there in Vegas. Okay, coming up, let's see. We got where can they find you? Is it CotyAlexander.com?
Yes, spelled with a T, COTY, Alexander.com.
And then tell us about your business program that you teach.
Well, that's in the works. So what I would say is just stay in touch, get on my email list. You can text ICONIC to 4828. 4828. Wait, is that it? Do you have it written there?
Yeah, I have 42828.
42828. You can text ICONIC to 42828 and get on my email list. And sometime later this year, there will be some stuff coming out that I would like people to be involved in. It's going to be awesome.
Sounds like it's a great 2016 for you, Coty. I want to thank you for coming in to Tribute Land today, and have a great show at the Flamingo today.
Thank you. I have enjoyed this so much. So cool to talk to you. And yeah, it's great. Thank you so much for having me.
Anytime. Keep killing it out there, Coty. Thank you for joining us, and I will talk to you very soon. And especially when you come to my backyard in Scottsdale and Talking Stick, I'm going to jump in over there and catch a show.
Yeah, I hope you do. Please do. Come on down.
All right. That's it. Thanks, Coty. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. All right, folks. That's Coty Alexander, the premier Madonna, Gwen Stefani tribute, and several others. But those are the two main ones that she does across the globe. And you're definitely going to want to check out her act. And now, folks, just like we end every single Tribute Land podcast, we do an Elvis Presley spotlight. We pick one Elvis, and I just give you a little bit of insight and information on that dude. This Elvis, I had the pleasure and honor of working with about a year ago. It was a great show, and he puts on a really good performance. His name is Doug Church, and you can find Doug Church at DougChurchUSA.com. And he's billed as the true voice of Elvis. He's all over the world. Recently, he'll be in Jersey, Pennsylvania, Virginia, New York, Delaware, San Diego, New Orleans, and Chile. He'll also be in Chile. That's quite an interesting venture for Elvis. That's Doug Church, folks. Really good guy. He's the true voice of Elvis, and you can see him once again at DougChurchUSA.com. You can check out his tour dates, fan club bookings, video, music, photos, all on his website. And that's today's Elvis Presley Spotlight. Once again, folks, my name is Scott Keogh. Thanks for joining us today in Tribute Land. That's it. Another one in the tank. I'll talk to you out there soon.
Save the last dance for me. A pretty mama, won't you save the last dance for me? I'll make a promise that you'll save the last dance for me. Save the last dance, or the very last dance.